Okay, so there's two types of people in the world. There's the type of people that think that the Palmetto State Arms Jakl is just a poor man's MCX, right? Then there's the other type of person that wants every caliber from 9mm up to 308 in this thing, right? And now that Palmetto State Arms has dropped the Jakl 2.0, as we saw this year at SHOT Show, now the big decision is, do I go for the OG or do I wait for the new hotness? That's what we're gonna talk about. Hey everybody, this is Matt Smith, Sheepdog Response. We're here talking about the Jakl. I just want to say thanks to the folks at Palmetto State Arms. They sent us this Jakl. We asked for it chambered in 300 blackout. They were nice enough to send it to us so we could check it out. They've always been good to us. Thanks to the folks at Palmetto State Arms. So let's talk about what makes the Jakl such a big deal in the first place. Palmetto State Arms released this thing and people saw it as a budget alternative to the SIG MCX or the FN SCAR. And for the most part, that's what it is. But we had to take a look at it and decide, does it have the battle rifle toughness of those two systems at a much better price? But are we giving up something by getting a more budget-friendly rifle? Let's talk about that. So if you've seen some of our videos as of late, you've seen we've been out here shooting this thing on the range. We shot it suppressed, we tried it in different configurations, we shot different ammo through this thing, and overall, it's performed very well. Let's talk about some of the features of this weapon. First and foremost, this thing is built like a tank. And I can tell you, I was a little apprehensive when we first shot this thing, because every time I see one of these SBR or these pistols with an 8.5-inch barrel, I'm ready for it to spit fire. I know it's gonna spit fire. It's gonna make loud booms. It's gonna have all those issues that they do. But frankly, I didn't experience that with this. When I shot the Jakl, I found that it was very shooter or user friendly. I didn't get a lot of flames spitting out there. It didn't buck around. It was easy to control. And I think a lot of that had to do with this monolithic build, meaning like it's a single piece of aluminum that they milled that makes it very solid, very sturdy in the hand, not a lot of flex, not a lot of movement. And so actually it was really comfortable in the hand and shot very well. I think for a short barrel rifle or a pistol type configuration, it is a easy competitor for the MCX or the FN SCAR. Much smaller than the SCAR. I think it's much more comparable to MCX, and I think it's gonna give the MCX a serious run for its money, especially at this price point. So let's talk about the piston system that's in here. It's like the MCX, it's like the HK 416s and those models right there. It's a piston system, not direct impingement, meaning the gas from the barrel, I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, the gas from the barrel isn't making it all the way back to the bolt. It's not making it back into the chamber. All that gas hits a piston which knocks back your bolt and picks up the next round that does all the feeding and everything for you, ejecting and feeding and everything. Because of that, none of those hot, dirty gases are getting blown back into the bolt. And because of that, it runs much cleaner, much cooler, all right? Those systems are becoming very popular now that they have the technology and the engineering to get good spring buffering into a smaller package like the traditionally old submachine guns like HKs. They ran them for years and years and years, a roller piston style, and they were fantastic systems. Well, now they're becoming more and more popular as engineering gets better, systems get better, metals get better, and now we're starting to get these amazing weapon systems in these really short packages, and this is one of them. And the beautiful thing about it, it runs cooler and it runs cleaner. So you'll do a lot less maintenance, which is great. Really good on this system because they're on the Gen 1 here, there's a few, as you can see, there's quite a bit of hardware that you gotta take down to a full takedown and cleaning of this thing. But that's good news because in these piston systems, you don't have to clean them as often. They just don't run as dirty. And because of that, they can run longer with less lubricant. Now, the manufacturer's not gonna say, I'm not telling you don't lubricate it, it's just that they tend to do better in dirty environments or where there's environments where you shot this thing a bunch, especially suppressed, because a normal gas impingement system, most of that garbage is getting shot, all that dirty gas and carbon is getting shot right back in your bolt, and they get dirty fast and they start to slow down. Not so much on this one, and with that adjustable gas system, you could shoot all day, every day with this thing and probably not have to do a whole lot of maintenance on it. That's the beauty of this thing. You may say, hey, I've shot my AR a bunch of times and never had any trouble with it feeding. True, but your AR is probably a full length and like it's over-gassed in the sense that it's designed to blow a lot back in there to make it manage all that stuff. This is a much more tunable system, and so you will have to tune it with different types of ammo. So make sure you test out the ammo you want to shoot. It's going to take a wide variety. We didn't have much issue, but all these systems are going to be the same because it's a piston system. You're going to have a little tuning. The beauty of it is When I shoot a traditional AR with a buffer tube on it and I add a suppressor, there's a high likelihood that I'm gonna have to change parts in the buffer. I'm either gonna have to change the buffer or the spring itself to get that thing to cycle the way I want, especially if I wanna shoot the rounds, like especially rounds that I wanna shoot. This is nice because all that adjustment happens right here. You don't have to change parts. Just simple turning of the gas adjustment knob, add or subtract gas that hits that piston, and I can adjust the weight that it's sending that bolt back with, and I make those adjustments right on the ground. With traditional AR systems, it's new parts, lots of tuning, and trust me, I've been down that road trying to tune an AR to a new suppressor with new ammo. That can be an all-day affair sometimes. But you're just not gonna get that with these new piston systems, and that's one of the beauties of this system. And like, I'm not joking, most of the time you can't get into those systems until you hit about the $3,000 mark. I'm telling you, you get a SIG MCX and you're looking at $3 grand. This is just over $1,000, and it performs very well, very akin to what the performance that we got out of our MCX. And so they've done it. They've taken a budget system and make it perform like a high budget system. The one that you're looking at here is chambered in 300 blackout. We asked for it in 300 blackout. 300 blackout is a great specialty round. It you can go back and you look at our video. We did a full test video where we shot supersonic, subsonic suppressed all out of this weapon system. So you can see we shot gel blocks so you can see what happens, and some crazy specialty rounds. One of my favorite videos that we made. Go check out that video. We'll put the link in the description. 300 blackout's a great go-between, somewhere between a pistol and a rifle. That's what it was designed to be, this hybrid pistol rifle kind of round. And this one does a great job. Great home defense round if you're shooting subsonic. And that is what this setup is made for. It is a great setup in 300 blackout. It's also available in other calibers. It's available in 5.56. We didn't try the 5.56 model. We specifically asked for 300 blackout. We had some 300 blackout we want to test, and it performed great. Minor adjustments, it extracts, it feeds, and it ate it all day, and even some crazy specialty rounds and some really low velocity rounds, and it didn't have any issue shooting those. Go check out that video. You'll see what we mean. We had a great time shooting it. Great chambered in 300 blackout. Also, the reviews for the 5.56 are very high, so I'm sure it shoots great with 5.56. This particular model just happens to be a blackout. Okay, so let's talk about the charging handle. It doesn't have your typical T-handle charging handle back here. The MCX does. They went with the charging handle on the side, like old school submachine gun style. I like it. Some people have some consternation. That's more like the FN style. They were the same way with the SCAR. It's got the charging handle up front. There's some conveniences and some drawbacks to that. The drawbacks are that if I'm used to a T charging handle, this is what happened when we shot it. Typically you go to reach for that thing and it's not there. So you gotta get back in the swing of reaching up here. So a couple times you can go watching that video, I'll go to clear it and you'll see me reach back first and then realize that I have a charging handle up front. That's because I shoot a lot of ARs and that's just the way it is. So make sure you practice with it and get used to any weapon system you shoot. But that's one of the things that I ran into. And then the other thing is the beef with the charging handle catching on gear. Because as I sling this thing, as you see, typically my weapon is slung to me like that. I'm a right-handed shooter. That charging handle wants to grab on everything. It's not quiet, and it typically wants to grab. Now in the 2.0, they made that a folding charging handle so you get less of that. In this old knurled handle that they have on the older model, it sticks out a lot. And then most people's beef with the SCAR or with this weapon with a charging handle on the side is about that thing catching. You can switch it to the other side. It is ambidextrous. So you relieve pressure on the system, that pulls right out and stick it on the other side. So you may want to run it on that side and just run it strong hand side, and then I don't have to worry about as it's slung, it's catching on gear or anything. That is an option in this one and the 2.0, and a lot of people take that option when they get the charging handle. They don't want it against their body. So I didn't have much problem with it catching on gear because it's rounded and knurled. It's not a hook one. So I personally didn't have that issue with it, and it doesn't reciprocate. That was the major flaw in the FNs when they first came out. When the SCAR first came out, that was a reciprocating charging handle, and everybody hated it, and they got blasted for it. Now it doesn't reciprocate, and so they got smart. The folks at PSA realized that it doesn't reciprocate. It charges, then it locks forward, so you don't have to worry about that thing moving back and forth. So when I'm shooting, I can grab anywhere I want to. I can mount controls and don't have to worry about it fouling with the charging handle. But just know that you're gonna have to get used to running a forward charging handle like an old school submachine gun system, which is what this is like. But frankly, I didn't have any issues. It charges easily, it locks forward easily, doesn't make a bunch of noise. It's really easy to change out from side to side. So just flip it to the other side and get used to running it strong hand. That's what I recommend. Okay, let's talk about some of the cons before we get into the pros of this thing. It does have a few cons in my opinion. I mean, there's some things that I think they can improve and some that they did when they came out with the new system. First and foremost, it is heavy. Because it's milled out of a single block of aluminum, it harkens back to the old AKs that were milled out of a single piece of steel. Very rugged indeed, not a lot of flex, certainly, but man, you feel it in the weight. There is an additional weight. This thing weighs almost as much as a full AR, even in this compact size. Still manageable, but you definitely feel like it's a heavy system for its size, but it feels solid. So it feels like a big chunk of aluminum that they milled out of it. And there's benefits, but the con is you buy back a little bit of weight. Another one of the cons, we already discussed it, charging handle. The charging handle's a minor con, but it's there. And if you're worried about stealth, the sound of the charging handle up here and the fact that it can grab on your kit, it's a thing. You gotta talk about it. One of the other cons is it's supposed to be an ambidextrous system, ambidextrous charging handle, but not truly ambi because I don't have a bolt release on this side. I don't have a mag release on that side. So that doesn't exist on this system. It's a regular AR lower with my mag release on that side, bolt release on this side. So for traditionalists who are used to shooting ARs, that's gonna feel very normal to you. It felt very normal to me when I shot it. But if you want the benefit, like my MCX, which is fully ambidextrous, that's what they got the new Jakl to be like. It is fully ambidextrous, bolt release, magazine release on both sides, so I can run it both handed, strong hand, support hand, however I want to run it, which is the benefit that this one doesn't have. I've made those adjustments over the years shooting and figured out how to shoot them both handed. Maybe you have too. It's just with the new system. Actually, I find myself having to get more used to systems where they're built to do it because I've developed so many of my own cheats to get it to work with either hand. Now I have to adapt to the fact that they're building them ambidextrous. But I'll talk about the last con, and this one it didn't really bother me, but some of the people who commented about it said, hey, because the charging handle had to be built, integrated into the upper here, it wound up being a little bit thicker this way, a little bit taller in its profile. And because of that, if I add systems, say I add a laser or a light or an optic on top of that, now to grab and actuate it, I really had to widen up that eagle claw to get to it to be able to actuate it. And some people didn't like the profile was a little thicker. I got big meat hooks, so it didn't really bother me. Some of the guys that shot it said it didn't really bother them. But if you're used to a more slender handguard, you'll notice that this is a little bit thicker. It's the same way on the MCX as well. But because the MCX doesn't have this charging handle up here, you get a little more options for where to mount. So you'll have to be conscious of where you mounting switches and any pressure switches or anything that you want to mount forward on this, because I always have to be able to get that charging handle and actuate that charging handle. So it gives up a little bit of real estate in that sense. Not a lot, it's a minor con, and you know it when you get the weapon system, but really a lot of people had some beef about the higher profile of the handguard. I didn't find it to be too problematic, but there it is, food for thought. So what's new on the Jakl 2.0? Well, I'll tell you. New buttstock. They have a totally integrated new buttstock. That thing is much more like the FN Scars buttstock. Much more modern, less velvy, but cool with a lot of options, all right? It's got a different hand grip on it. The hand grip is a custom hand grip. As a matter of fact, the whole lower is custom and newer. And so it's nicer. It's a good design, but we'll talk about some of the cons of that as well in the 2.0. But it's designed to be integrated in the system, whereas this one will receive any AR lower. That one is a new system designed for the system with an improved grip, their own custom grip, and their own custom lower. And the new 2.0 has much less hardware to have to take apart to do a full breakdown and maintenance. And so they simplified the system to make it a little bit simpler to use. And so the 2.0, it's got fantastic features. Mostly the hardware, the lower, and the buttstock, but then the big one that everybody talked about was that charging handle. So now the charging handle is a folding, like J-hook style charging handle, and so it folds over to the side. It's a little more svelvy. Still there, still a forward charging handle, but it's not this knurled round charging handle. This is a simple system. I like it. Easy to find, easy to get to, easy to catch. That other one folds in like a newer model FN Scar, which is nice. So people like it. It's svelvy, a little less likely to catch on equipment, a little less likely to make noise. True. And so that's what you'll see on the 2.0 when you can get your hands on one. And the last feature that's on the 2.0 that you won't see on the 1.0 Jakl that we have here is fully ambidextrous bolt release, whereas this is just ambidextrous charging handle. So the charging handle can be switched to either side. And here's another thing that they listen to folks when they design the 2.0 is the charging handle. If you get one with a longer barrel, they didn't want to put the charging handle so far out, so they want people to have to reach out to actuate it. They said, hey, I don't want to reach out there to have to actuate this thing. And so they moved it back. So now the charging handle rests back. It stays normally in where it sits on this shorter barrel configuration, even on the longer barrel configuration. That way I don't have to reach way out, and that gives me more real estate to add more equipment if I do want to add more equipment. So that's available on the version 2.0 as well. It is an excellent system. We haven't had a chance to shoot it yet. We got a chance to look at it at SHOT Show, and they made a bunch of design improvements that we did like. Okay, so let's talk about it. Do I want the OG as displayed here, or do I want to wait to get the new version 2.0? I'm gonna tell you, that new 2.0, it's hot, but I'm gonna talk about some of the benefits and drawbacks of that thing. It is lighter. It does have the folding charging handle. It does have the new grip and the new stock. Those are all fantastic. Right now, as far as I know, it's only available in chambered in 5.56. That's all they have ready to release, as far as I know. I'm sure that's gonna change quickly. But right now, no projected release date. We don't know when you can get your hands on that thing. Nobody knows when you got. I assume it's gonna be soon. I assume it'll be this year, but right now, nobody knows when you're gonna be able to get your hand. It's whenever they can get the manufacturing those things, all right? So what do I get if I get the OG? I get it right here and now. I know what ammunition I can get it chambered in. Everything from pistol caliber all the way up to 308. Can you imagine this thing this short in 308? All right, so all those things. I know that it runs because you have our videos and a lot of other people who have tested it and said, and got great reviews. So it performs. I know that it already performs, and that's kind of problematic. Anytime you get a first generation arms, there's gonna be issues with it. There's gonna be quirks and features, and I'm sure that you're gonna run into those with the 2.0. They have yet to be identified. And probably the biggest thing for me, and I wanna give you food for thought, and leave a comment if you think that this is true or not, but as an old school shooter, somebody who's been around in the game for a little bit, I'm gonna tell you what I do like about this. The fact that this thing has an AR lower, to me, is a benefit. A lot of people may or may not disagree. Let us know in the comments, but the beauty of it is, with this lower, I can put whatever lower I want. Whatever mods are already on the market available. It's completely modular. There's so much on the market for all ARs now. Whatever grip I want, whatever mag release I want, whatever buttons or extended controls I want. Those are all available to me because it's just a regular AR lower. I love that, the modularity and the way that I can refine it, the way that I've always loved my weapon system. So everything you've ever loved about AR in the lower, you can have on this weapon system. The new weapon system's not gonna offer that, and it'll probably be a while before they'll come out with those different modular systems. Like say for instance, a trigger. If I have a trigger that I happen to like that I wanna drop into this AR lower, I can drop it right in. That's already available to me. I can have it. When the new system comes out, you're gonna have to wait till they come out with their proprietary trigger, or other companies get the licensing to do advanced trigger systems. Probably won't be a long wait, but it's gonna add additional time. So now I'm waiting for 2.0 and I'm waiting for those things. So one of the hidden benefits that I see of having the 1.0 that almost makes worth getting it is the fact that I love the fact that any AR lower work on this, and I have a choice of AR lowers that I wanna integrate, or maybe not the whole lower, but the systems, like whatever grip I want, whatever trigger I want, whatever controls and buttons that I'm already used to and that I already like to shoot that are already out there. I like the modularity of the low profile stock on this thing. I like just the fact that it's got a Picatinny rail and I can switch out stocks, because these stocks are becoming very common. They're all over the place in whatever configuration you want, whether you want it in a pistol brace or fully adjustable stock or a fixed stock or different options. There's so many of these on the market. With the new one, you're gonna get a very FN Scar-like stock. People like that. It completely folds. It does come off. It does go on. We're still waiting on information because they're saying that it'll have a system where it'll switch out. You'll be able to switch it onto other weapon systems, and that will have a pistol brace style attachment. But we haven't seen those yet, all right? That's all new and proprietary. Although they do a wonderful job of designing, they did a wonderful job of designing this one. I'm sure they did a wonderful job of designing that, but you gotta wait for it. The beautiful thing about this Picatinny style rail that's already on here is now there are so many options on the market already for whether I want fixed stock, adjustable stock, pistol brace, adjustable height stocks. Those are already out there, and so I can switch any one. we yet to see what will go on those systems. I assume that it's going to be very similar, but all we have to go by is what they told us at SHOT Show, and that the system is yet to be released. So again, you're waiting on that. You're waiting on the system to be released, and then you're waiting on all the modular parts that you can get for it. Whereas here, I've already got that. And so what you're getting is a system at a great price point where I have already got a lot of knowledge in it, and I can make a lot of changes already with what's available on the market, or you're waiting for the new thing. And to me, it almost seems like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'm sure it's a great system, but there's a lot of cause to go and invest in one of these weapon systems. Reliability is there, I can tell you, because we've shot it, had a great time shooting it. It's a fun weapon system to shoot. It would be a great weapon system for home security or ranch security, a nice truck gun. All that is available to you here and now. So it depends on whether you want to wait or do you want to get what's available to you. And I assume that the price of these things are going to become even more reasonable as we get closer to a date that they release the new ones. Hey, special thanks to the folks at Palmetto State Arms. They did send this weapon to us. We appreciate everything you do. Great system, well engineered. Remember, check us out, leave a comment. Like, subscribe. It's just a click of a button for you, but it helps us make these videos for you, give you a little more buying power at the gun counter so you know what you're getting into. You can get into a great weapon system like this from Palmetto State Arms. Go see the folks over at Palmetto State Arms. And then check us out at sheepdogresponse.com, because there you can come train with us and learn. You can get this system. We can teach you all about how to use it, how to effectively use it, defensive shooting, work in situational awareness, work on the mats, all available to you, live training and virtual training at sheepdogresponse.com. Hey everybody, I'm Matt Smith from sheepdogresponse.com. Damn it. I'm director here at Sheepdog Response. And I'm Matt Smith. I'm man. Here talking about the primary start. Man.